Vikings fans, this is the moment where optimism officially gives way to accountability. The path forward is now crystal clear, and it's not the one anyone wanted back in September. Another year ends without meaningful January football, adding more pressure to a franchise already searching for answers. What happens next will shape the future more than any win could. Every snap from here on out is an audition, every decision a signal of what's coming. The excuses are gone and the microscope is out. This stretch will define legacies inside the building. Buckle up, smash that like button, subscribe right now, and stay tuned because the real story for Minnesota starts today. Kevin O'Connell is the name that has to be said out loud right now, because when the Minnesota Vikings are officially eliminated from the playoffs for the fourth time in 6 seasons, leadership becomes the unavoidable conversation. I don't care how cold it was at Soldier Field when the Bears demolished the Browns. I don't care that Minnesota technically lost its postseason fate without even taking the field. What I care about is the pattern, because patterns tell the truth, and this one says the Vikings are stuck in neutral while the rest of the NFC keeps accelerating. Let's not sugarcoat this. Being eliminated before Week 15 is embarrassing. It doesn't matter how many injuries you point to, how many young quarterbacks you cycle through, or how many competitive losses you try to sell. This franchise has missed the playoffs 4 times in 6 years, and that is not an accident. That is organizational mediocrity showing its face again. Kevin O'Connell was brought here to stabilize things, to modernize the offense, to build a culture that didn't live on the edge every single season. And yet here we are, watching other teams celebrate while Vikings fans start Googling draft order in mid-December. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. The best case scenario for Minnesota is officially to lose out. That's the reality. At 6-8 with games left against the Giants, Packers, and Lions, the smartest long-term move is to finish 6-11 and climb the draft board. That's not tanking talk. That's math. That's survival mode. And when your fan base is already debating draft position instead of playoff matchups, something has gone wrong at a fundamental level. You don't build a proud franchise on hoping losses turn into lottery tickets. But I refuse to ignore the context because it matters. This season was supposed to be about clarity at quarterback, and instead it turned into chaos. J.J. McCarthy struggled early, showed flashes late, and now sits at the center of an offseason that will define this team's direction. Kevin O'Connell simplified the offense, protected his young quarterback, and got results against Washington. That was progress. But progress without playoffs still leaves you empty-handed. Moral victories do not raise banners. Development does not excuse elimination. At some point, accountability has to outweigh patience. And let's talk about expectations. This is not a rebuilding roster from top to bottom. You have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, a defense that has played hard, and a coach who is supposed to be an offensive mind. Missing the playoffs once is a setback. Missing them 4 times in 6 seasons is a warning sign. It tells you the margin for error is gone. It tells you the excuses are worn out. And it tells you Kevin O'Connell is entering the most important offseason of his tenure, whether he likes it or not. Here's the brutal truth Vikings fans need to hear. The final 3 games are no longer about pride. They're about information. They're about answering questions that can't be dodged anymore. Is J.J. McCarthy truly the guy or just a hopeful project? Can this coaching staff adjust without lowering the ceiling? Is this roster 1 quarterback away or further off than people want to admit? Every snap from here on out is evidence, not entertainment. And O'Connell has to manage that balance without losing the locker room. What frustrates me the most is the familiarity of this feeling. Every few years, it's the same conversation. Close but not close enough. Potential but not payoff. And that's what makes this elimination sting more than usual. It's not shocking, it's expected. And when disappointment becomes predictable, that's when fans stop believing. That's when urgency has to replace comfort at the top. So I'll ask you straight, Vikings fan. Do you still trust Kevin O'Connell to lead this team out of the cycle of mediocrity? Or is it time to demand real results instead of long-term promises? Let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments. And if you want honest, passionate Vikings talk that doesn't duck the truth, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay connected with this community. Because this offseason is going to be louder than any playoff game.